Hello guys. In this session, I will be telling you that how to configure the self IP. What are they basically? And I will also tell you that how to configure the web server because if you are going to do the labs, it is very essential that you keep the traffic on the different servers, right? So you see that these are the server 1, server 2, and server 3. So these are like tiny core servers, which are basically used for the lab perspective. But in actual environment, whatever the server they are, that's fine because you are not the server guy and you will not be configuring the server. But here for the lab, we should be able to do as we saw in the previous class that on every request, it was showing as a server one. So right now, I will just change some of the settings on this server so that it will tell you the output that on which server the request is going to. So basically, like whenever you are hitting from this machine or from this machine, whenever the request will go on server one, it will tell you that, okay, this is server one. If it is request is going to server two, the output will be server two. Okay, why we are doing? So that at least we can correlate the things that on which server our request is going and we can understand the concept of our load balancer. Along with that, we will also go through some VLAN concepts. So because this VLAN and self IP are like correlated in their essential. So we have already configured on this one, but we will understand that what's their purpose and how basically we configure. So in the previous class, I have shown you that how to configure that, but I will just quickly brief you the concept of that. All right, so let's start quickly. Very first thing, I will check the servers. Okay. And meanwhile, I will also start this machine. Okay, so this is starting. This is like Windows machine and it will be starting in the background. Meanwhile, I will just show you the server configuration. Okay, so this is starting with the normal Windows and I tell you the server one. So if I go on this server one, just click it here, you can see the GUI like this. Whenever like now the question comes that how you will get these images. Okay, so I will share you these images here. Okay, for that, what you have to do, you have to go to the link learn.cpmsecurity.com. So that link I will be giving you in the description. If you don't have, like if you are watching on my portal, I will be giving you this link under the resource section at the top. Okay, so you can use that link and download these tiny course servers. So these are like ready-made available. You can use these servers. Okay, I will be providing that link here. But let me, meanwhile, because I'm coming on that, so meanwhile, let me tell you as well that this video, this content, as you know, that these are not be available for like quite long, free of cost. They are going to be chargeable, that like nominal cost. But as of now, they are like almost free, very less amount, and that's I'm just giving because of this portal access. So what you have to do for that purpose, you will have to go to this link. I will just show you, and you have to buy. So this is like very nominal cost. Let me show you here. So this is the link. This link also I will be giving you on the description. Okay. So if you go to this link, it's not copied. Okay, now it is. So that's the like this link you have to go, and under this link you have to take that one, like proceed to pay. So this will be like 99 rupees for the Indian students. For like international, it will be like $1. So that very nominal amount. After that one, like certain period, whenever this course is finished, this is going to of this 1499. So right now you don't have to do. If you enroll right now, the benefit what you will be having that even if the cost goes high to the 1499, you still will be having the access. So that's like benefit if you enroll right now. Okay. So you will just get in 99. And meanwhile, I'll be uploading because this course is not yet completed. So I will be uploading videos on this slowly. All right. So, and here within this portal, I will be just adding the links to the so that how you can download the tiny code. And if you are watching on the YouTube and you don't want to join this link, that's also fine. But benefit of here, like you have to like ad free experience, you'll not be getting advertisement of YouTube. So it's just your choice. If you want to watch free of cost till like course finishes, it will be available on the YouTube. But once like after 1 month or 2 months, once I finish this course, then it will not be available on YouTube. Here only it will be available. So if you get it here, so it's your choice. Either you want to enjoy for 2 months free of cost on YouTube, that's also fine. If not, you can enroll for this amount, nominal amount, and it will be like forever. All right, guys, that's like much more. And meanwhile, I was telling about this one configuration, right? So now, if you go to, let me close this window. So whenever you will open this server, okay, once you click it here, it will just simply open like this. Or let me click it, in fact. So if I just click it, you see that this window is opening like that one. So once you open this server, very first thing you have to configure the IP address, right? So usually the IP address is not changed or lost in the production server, but this is a lab environment and we have taken a very small, tiny server. So here we have to configure it. So what you have to do in your lab, once if you are set it up, you have to go in the control panel, because if you uh, go in the production environment, you are not responsible for configuring any IP address in the server. So you should be free because you are F5 guy. So no need to worry. That server guy will take care of that one. But here you are in the lab, so you have to do. Otherwise, you cannot do the practice, right? So I will configure the first IP 172.16.1.10, and gateway I have in my setup as 1.1. I will apply it. Okay, once I apply, you will see that this server, which is server 1 right now, that will come up green. If I click it here, now you see that I have put the IP and that has come as server 1. This I have already configured, so that's why it is showing as a green. Next thing what you have to do, that you have to change the index page of this server. Why I'm saying the index page, let me show you. So if you go to this Windows machine where you hit basically this virtual IP, right? The you can say the website you are accessing, that you hit 100.1.1.1. So if I go this machine, go on to the browser, and if I click 100.1.1, you see that this is saying as a this is server 1. So what is happening? There is some configuration on that server which is sending this information that this is server 1. Okay, so right now if I refresh this, okay, every time it is saying as a this is server 1, because all these servers in the background configuration, they have the detailed as server 1. So even if I refresh and I am saying that it is doing the load balancing, but actually we are not able to visualize it because it is always giving the response as server 1. So what I have to do, I have to change that configuration page. So it is like are a developer of a website, you are a web designer, and you are changing the configuration of that page, whatever it is loading. Okay. So if I go to this server 1, and rather than this control panel, this time I'm going to the terminal, and inside that terminal, I have to modify the index page. Okay. Index page is responsible for providing the home page of any website. For example, you are loading my website freshdeveloper.online. So whatever the pay information you are seeing it here, right? This is a part of index page. I have designed that one in the HTML, and that's what basically it is throwing you with this good page, good design, images, all these things I have configured. Though I'm a good at HTML as well, so I have done that. Okay, but if you're not, that's not a problem. Only simple things you have to do to change that values. Okay, so what you have to do, that I will change the output of this page of index page, so that this server shows you as a result as server 1, which is showing here right now. This is server 1. And whenever the request lands on the server 2, it will give a page as this is server 2. Okay. And whenever the request is landing on server 3, it will give you a message, or it basically the page will load as a this is server 3. Why we want to do that? Like usually in the production environment, we don't do that. We put the same thing in all of the server, because whatever the user is requesting, they will get the same results, like same website. Okay. But just for the lab and understanding perspective, we can see that okay, on which server my request is landing. Otherwise, you will always think that okay, it is doing the load balancing or it is not doing, right? So what I'm going to do, this is server one. So the server one is already there. What I will do, I will configure on the server two first. So I will go on the server two. Why I'm not doing server one? Because server one is already configured. So no need to, or let me show you that where is that one. Okay. So you can visualize it. So if I am in the server one right now, and if I go to the index page, okay. So where index page, it will be under the user. So I'm just changing the directory. If you are good in Linux, you will understand. Even if you are basic in the Linux, you will understand, because these are the very basic commands. But even if you don't know the Linux and all, just follow this step. That's it. Okay. So I have to go to the user, then local, then I have to go to the httpd, and then inside bin. Okay. So inside this directory bin, this is the path user local httpd and bin. If I do ls-l, or just even just ls, that will also work. There's an index file. Okay, I told you, right? This is the index HTML, which is responsible for that page, which is giving you this is server one result. So let's see that what's inside that file. Okay, so I will do as a VI. VI basically a Vim editor. If you don't know, just type VI and then type index HTML. Okay, so it will show you the content what is inside that index.html. If I hit enter, you will see that it is have some HTML file, and that says as a this is server one. Okay, and color is blue. So that's what you are seeing here, that this is server one, the content. Okay, this is text you are seeing, and the color you are seeing, that is a blue color. If I go to the server 2 in the same way, right? So if I go to terminal, and I will do the same things, cd space dot dot, cd space dot dot, and same path, ls, not ls, that is cd space user local, and then it was httpd, and then bin, and here there should be file with index html. Okay, so if you see this page, it's also saying that this is server one, and that's why wherever the even in the request is landing on server two, the response is page is coming as server one. Okay, so I will just exit from here, escape colon q. Okay, so it will just quit this on this page, and here what I will have to do, I have to run as a sudo vi, and then save. Sudo basically gives us me the elevated privileges. That's why I'm using that command. Okay, now I can modify this file. So here I'm going server one, and I will modify to server two. Okay, so I will do as a server 2. Okay. And the color this time, rather than blue, I will change the color as well. Okay. So that like it will be good to visualize it. Yellow. And this time I will write and quit. So I will space. So I whenever I write WQ, it means W for write and Q for quit, and hit enter. So now the my file has been saved with this one. Okay. Now what I will do, I will change the IP address on this machine. So I will just quickly close this, or let me change the for the server 3 as well. Okay. So for the server 3, first type of all, I will change the IP address, like IP address actually whatever I put that I have removed, so that I can show you once again. Okay, so I will go into the network tab, and here I will configure as 172.16.1.30, gateway as 1.1.1. Okay, apply and exit. And here I will also modify that file, index file, so that whenever the request comes on server 3, it gives me that user local httpd bin, and here I will do once again sudo vi and index.html. Okay, so I will go here. So here, if you are not able to modify, just use that I for insert. Okay, once you do that, you will be able to modify. So I will write as 3, and this one color I will write as red. If you're not able to modify, use that I symbol. Okay, sometimes you type it and it is not working. And once again, I will do escape, then colon, then write and quit. Hit enter. So this is done for the server 3. Let me check server 2. Then it is having some issue. I will check that later on. Meanwhile, let me check my load balancer. What's happening here? So here I have server 1 is not working. Let me check what is happening on server 1. Okay, it has taken the restart, I think. Okay, meanwhile, I can show you that what is happening when the request is landing on server 3. Okay, so I go to Windows machine, and if I refresh it, you see that, oh, this is server 1. I haven't modified. I think I modified, right? Oh, sorry. I changed there. Okay, on the title. So it could be showing on the title as server 3. You see that this is the title, this is server 3. And I have to change the content of server 3 here. So that's one, like wherever it is written red, right? There I have to change as well. So here I will change as well. Escape, colon, right hand, wait. Now if I refresh, it will be coming as 3. Cool, red color and server 3. Why? Because only one of the servers are available right now and all the requests are going on server 3. I will check server 1. Let me restart it if it works. And by this way, I have configured all 3 servers. Okay. So server 1, this is on the blue color as server 1. Server 2, this is in yellow as server 2. And this is server 3, which is basically the red color. I remember. Yeah. So this was I configured prior. So, all right. So let's see what status in the LTM, basically the load balancer. So now all 3 servers are green and up. What's the response right now? Okay, so this is server 1. If I, okay, this is server 2. It could be not visible clearly because of yellow color. Okay, so this is server 2, and this is how the server 3. Okay, so server 2, server 1, 3. So sequence is a little bit like hotspot, but anyhow, the request is going in all 3 servers. So this yellow color doesn't look good to me. So I will just change that one to green. C2 VI, this is yellow. Yeah, this is, so I will change it to green color so that it could be visible, right? Right now it's not visible actually. Insert green. Okay, and escape, colon, right and quit, and should be fine now. If I do 1, 2, okay, 2 is green. So that's better. And that's how basically you can configure the server configuration for your lab setup. Now let's talk about the self IP. So if I go to the load balancer, there's a network tab here. Okay, there's a network tab, and there is a self IP. Okay, so there's 2 self IPs right now. One is external, another is internal. So there's 2 things here right now, 20.20.1, that is external, and 172.16.1.1. So if you have a look on the topology right now, right? So 20.20.20.1, that I have configured as an external. External means basically these are all are treated as an internet user. Okay, that's why I say them as an external. Because, for example, you are hitting google.com, right? So google.com is somewhere here that they are managing the servers as well as the load balancers. But anywhere, like, we are the users, and we will be going from the internet towards their network. Okay, so that's why this is treated as an external. This is like uh, external from the enterprise perspective. All right. So that's why one interface is 20.20.20.1, that is told as an external here, and internal self IP. Okay, basically I could have configured as name as internal only, and that is having an IP address of 172.16.1.1. And there basically we are having the servers connected on this one. Now, why you might be thinking that why we have configured this self IPs, right? So if you go little bit background, let me show you. Otherwise, it will be little bit hard for you. For example, you have a load balancer here. Okay, this is your load balancer. Usually, I'm talking about the whenever like any connectivity you want. So, for example, you have some servers connected from here, right? And you have some router connected in this way. So there should be some interface where you could be connecting on big IP. Same thing, like if there's a switch in connection in between, and then this switch should be connecting somewhere onto the big IP. So what this should be? This should be some interface, and where basically there should be some IP address. But actually, in the big IP, you cannot directly configure an IP address to that interface. There's no provision or no concept of that one. Okay, so if I show you the interfaces in the big IP, this is right. So if I go to the interfaces, network interface list, so there are three interfaces: 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. 1.1 is up, 1.2 is up. If I click in any of them, you see that I cannot configure the IP address. There are like layer 2 and other configurations that you can modify, but you cannot configure an IP address here. So what they have done, rather than configuring this IP address directly, there is a concept of the SVI. SVI is called as a switch virtual interface, right? Like where you have like one router, and on one interface you divide it into the multiple virtual interface. For example, it is a Cisco router, and this is the uh, interface 1/1, right? What you do, you create dot 10. So this is like virtual interface 1.10. This is 1.1.1/1.20, right? That's for 20 VLAN. This is for 10 VLAN. Same thing for third virtual interface, that you can clear 1/1/30. Third one you configure as 1/1.40. So for in every virtual interface, you give a VLAN ID, and then you configure an IP address to that virtual interface. That is the concept of CCNA. I think you are well aware of that one. So that's what it is happening here. If you don't know, then you have to uh, just accept it. If you know the CCNA, then it is very easy for you to digest it, right? So that's what basically we do. Same thing is happening here. Only the difference is on the Cisco router, you can also configure an IP address to the directly to the physical interface 1/1. And here, there's no possibility that you don't have to do, or in fact, you cannot do. Okay. So now what we have done, first we have to create that VLAN, because once you are dividing that one, you need an VLAN as well, like 30 or 40 or 20 or 10. So that's what we will have to do. First, we will create a VLAN. So how you will create a VLAN? You have to go to same page, and there is an option of the VLAN very first. So if I go here, there's a VLAN, right? So if I go to click on the VLANs, you see there's a VLAN tag. So what I have done for the external, I have given the VLAN as 200 tag, and for the internal, I have given as 100. So if, for example, if I want to create a new one, so how you will create? For example, I create a new VLAN of the VLAN 30. Okay. So let's suppose this is for I'm creating for the DMZ. Description, you can give something tag that what VLAN you want to create. So I'm creating VLAN 300, and this VLAN on which interface, basically like on which physical interface you are dividing. Okay, so that you have to select that you are using that 1.1, 1.2, or 1.3. So for example, this 300 is also part of somewhere here on this 1.2. Okay, so if it is also somewhere here in this 1.2, or it will be connected towards it, you can select it here as a 1.2. Okay, next thing, it is like you want to send the traffic as tagged or untagged. Why? Because for example, this is a switch right here, this is switch. So if you are having a VLAN configured on this switch, then you have to send this traffic as tagged, like means that basically that VLAN ID will be associated with that frame. Okay, that will be included. But in case you have directly connectivity with the devices or servers, then you set configure as an untag. So this is a like switch concept. If you know CCNA, this is the same way, like whether you want to remove that VLAN or do not remove the VLAN. So for the trunk traffic, like whenever you have trunk codes, there we use as a tagged. Where there's a no trunk, like directly connectivity to the router or computers, then we send as a untagged. So right now I'm just doing as a untagged, and then you have to add it here. Okay, remaining, if you want to modify the MTU size, you can do. Otherwise, you will just do finished. And that's how basically we can create an interface. It is saying that is it untagged on another VLAN. Okay, so I'll select as a 1.3. Okay, so untagged you have to configure only one. Tagged one you can select on the multiples. So I will just remove this 1.2, and that's how you will create it. All right, so you have created a 1.3. Cool. That's how you can create. Now if you want to create a self IP, so for example you want, for example, you do not have that DMZ on that 1.2, rather you have on the third interface 1.3 in this direction. Okay, at the top on the third interface. So in that case, let's take a new subnet and configure it. So how you will create a self IP? You will go to the create name. I will give the same as a DMZ. Okay, you can also give self IP if you want. Otherwise, you are already in the self IP, so everybody understand that okay, you are creating self IP. IP address. This time I will give something like let's take 192, or let's take same 172.16.2.1. Okay, and net mask. So obviously this is I'm taking also class C subnet. VLAN tunnel. Okay, so here you see that it is asking for the VLAN, that on which VLAN you want to associate. So these are like already in use. That's why they have not selected. These are like already available VLAN, external and internal. And this we have just created DMZ, so it has auto selected. Port lockdown, that which of the port traffic you want to allow on this one. So always select as a allow default ports until you do not want to use custom or you want to block the traffic. If you select allow none, so none of the traffic will be flowing through it. Or if you want to custom means that specific ports you want to allow. Okay, so if you go plus custom, it will ask you that which ports and all those things. So we will just allow the default ports. All right, so this is used for the HA, so I will be covering on later on. I will click on finish. It is saying that the required object name is invalid. Okay, so I will just put as an underscore and finished. And now we have configured as a self IP, DMZ self IP. Awesome. So that's what basically we can do. So that's it about the VLAN and self IP. Now I'm sure that you understand the requirement and the concept of the self IP. I will suggest to go for this portal so that you will get an ad-free experience and little bit more details for the longer time. So I'll stop it here. See you in the next session.